Okay, we are live on Instagram. We're also live on Facebook, and today we're going to be talking about the hidden cost of you not advertising. Um, because it seems like there's a lot of people who believe out there that running ads is going to save you money. Maybe now or maybe in the future. Maybe in the past you've run some ads and it didn't bring you anything, but that could be a plethora of reasons. It could be because you ran them yourself or because the people who you've hired didn't know what they were actually doing. So, you know, we're kind of going to go over the reasons why you're not investing into ads could be causing you to lose money. And it's almost like the opportunity cost. This morning, I was talking to one of our clients. He builds boats. He also just does repairs on boats. He's out there in Tuscot in Nova Scotia. And we've been advertising for probably 4 to 5 months, and he hadn't got a deal yet, but he still believed in it. He just said that the industry was a little bit slow, but he believed in it. He thought that not putting money into it would cost him even more in the long run, which is the good mindset to go into this with. Now, we did the math today. It was around 7 to 9 thousand that we spent overall, and the job that he got, the boat that he's gonna be painting in this case, plus doing a few other things, is around 190,000 minimum. And let's say he makes 20% ish off of that, he's walking away with roughly like 30K, maybe a little bit more, roughly around there. And it cost them that 7 to 9 thousand to be able to get that. So if he did not spend the 7 to 9 thousand to be able to get that $200,000 job that is gonna bring him and his family about $30,000. So if he didn't spend that, let's say 9,000, or let's call it 10,000, then he wouldn't have the income of that 30,000 for the next couple months, which could be trouble. So that would have cost them even more. It would have cost him 30,000 or 200,000 on the long run if he just decided to keep the 10,000 in his pocket. So it's almost like educated gambling. You're not just throwing money and throwing mud at the wall to see if it can stick. You're taking very clear, precise actions to be able to make more revenue for the company, and be able to find out what your customer acquisition cost is, what a customer lead cost is, so that you can scale from there. So you got to think about it. Like each day without visibility is a day that you give your competition more revenue, if you will. So long story short, the market is just gonna get more saturated, if you will. More people are gonna be advertising. That's gonna be more competition for you. If you're leading with content that will make you stand out, and let's just go through some numbers. So let's say that uh, you're, for example, choosing to spend $2,000 every single month, and you're making 10,000 from those 2,000. So it's about like 5x return. However, you go out, and by the way, I don't know where else you're going to get 5x return. Like, let's say you go to the stock market or you give $1 million to a hedge fund. In 2020, they brought back to their clients about 12.3% for the full year. If we as advertisers don't do minimum 2x return, 200% return, we're out. If we don't turn $1 into $2, we're out. And that's very high standards. And, I don't know any other industry that you can do that yet. Maybe I'll be aware of any other industries that I can do that with in the next couple of years. But right now, that's not the case. We're held to high standards and we do perform. If you on your side, you can perform to call these peoples, give us the content that we need, communicate well with us and your clients as well, it'll definitely work. So a few myths that people might have would be like only big budgets wins. Uh, and small budgets can have a big impact as well if they are used strategically. You don't need to spend thousands right away. You can start with $30 to $50 per day. That's about 900 to 1,000 a month. And then from there, you should be able to find your cost per lead. And then from there, your customer acquisition cost so that you can scale. I was also doing the math with one of our clients. He's also in Nova Scotia, and he does excavation in concrete. And he has closed quite a few deals. Before we got started with him, I think it was a team of four plus him. He was also on tools, and now they have around 7 people. He has 2 or 3 extra machines. He's not on the tool so much, and they're making a lot more revenue. But we were talking with him, and his lead cost right now is like $50, $60 between that. And the projects that he's getting, these are big projects. For him, it's like 20, 40, 60K. Sometimes it's like 120 is the last one he quoted. We don't know if he'll get that, but these are big projects, meaning if we put $1 in and we get, I forget the math, but it came out to be 222 return. Every dollar we put in, we would get $222 back. That's amazing gambling, and we should gamble with that all the time. And so my point is that you don't need to have big budgets to be able to scale and be able to win. You just need to be strategic about it and be able to um, know your numbers too. And another myth could be like ads don't work in your industry. That could be trouble if you think that way. You could probably stay at the same spot that you are in. And I was talking to a family member. They own a, what's it called? Landscaping business. They all have full time jobs. And they were pretty proud of the fact that they never advertised. And if that's you, if you have full time jobs, if you are not really full time to your like contracting business, then sure, you can be proud of that fact that you're not advertising to get more jobs. But if this is your full time thing, then we probably shouldn't be having that conversation of you just sticking to like word of mouth because you probably want to scale the business. So if ads don't work in your industry and we're both in the construction, that one of us is lying because either you didn't try it or you tried it and you just sucked at it, or the people who did it for you sucked at it, or either we're lying and our clients are lying and the checks hitting their bank account is fake and fugazi and is fairy dust. You have to make sure that you go out there and experiment with your own dollars, but not be the first one because that could be trouble for you as well. You have to make sure that it's proven. And so in construction, especially if it's projects anywhere from like a couple thousand to, I want to say even like 2 to 3, 400,000, you can get on Facebook, Instagram, Google, a few other platforms. If these are custom homes, if you're doing custom home builds, it's likely going to be a little bit harder to get jobs from social media. Even we have a siding client out in Burlington, and we've tried really everything to be able to get more jobs from them. But when we did the advertising, we just found that they were like not tire kickers, but just people who didn't want to spend what the client is worth. And they didn't want to deal with that, which is super fair. So what we found worked for them was content. So there's a lot of low hanging fruit that you or actions that you can take action on to be able to make more revenue. You just have to test out and see what it is. So if ads don't work in your industry, I'm sure something else will. But you have to make sure that you're not just operating under that mentality because you think so. You got to make sure that it's like a group mentality too. And so if like there's more than 30 people who say in your specific industry that ads don't work, then they're probably right. But if you've only talked to like maybe 1, 2 people and they're in your same circle, they're like in your same socioeconomic background, then it's probably not really good data to operate under. And a myth number 3 could be like organic growth is enough. And yeah, maybe it could. Um, Depends again on what you're specifically doing. If you're doing custom homes, the more content you pump out, educate the people, give them value, and entertain them, the more leads you're likely going to get. But you're still going to have to ask them to take an action. And I guess it really depends on the type of content that you're doing. So just to recap, um, it's a opportunity cost not to advertise because as I was talking about like this boat client, he spent 10K to make 30K. This excavation concrete guy, we're getting $50 leads to get 50, 60K dollar jobs. So it's scalable. You just have to make sure that if you're doing a service that is not like no one's been able to prove it online, then it's likely not going to work. But there's definitely other options that you might be able to take. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Let me know any questions that you guys have for next week. We're trying to go live every Tuesday, or we have been going live every Tuesday. We were doing it at 6 p.m. every Tuesday Eastern, but now we're doing it between 3 and 3:30, just kind of testing out what kind of engagement we get. And if there's any questions that you guys have, just DM us. Happy to help you. Happy to see if we can help you. If you know anybody that's struggling to get the phone to ring, get more jobs, be able to keep organized with everything in their business, happy to advise as well. So hopefully it was helpful for you guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye.